Hello and welcome to Knit Happens, an October catch-up. So I've got colourways for October to introduce you to. I've got a puppy at my feet who is presenting me with a stick, and I've got the rest of the Stephen West kits for the MCAL that I dyed up to show you some of. I've got some interesting brioche projects that I've been working on to show you, and I have got a finished object and what I've started off. So let's get on. Okay, so this month in knit school, I am teaching brioche again, but other than last time, which was one colour brioche, two colour brioche, and the brioche cowl, which will be a pattern that will be published fairly soon now. I have decided to upskill them, and apologies if you can hear the rain. It is absolutely hammering down outside the cabin today. But I've decided to upskill them and start moving the brioche lines around. So I have been doing some little practice bits and bobses just to see what happens with the various stitches and where they go and how they work. Obviously two-sided. It is more of a definite one-sided or two-sided, and you definitely need to do the right legs and left-sided decreases and right-sided decreases in the right places, because otherwise that happens. So I've had that. I've done a little one with aiming for sort of a leafy look there. It's not really a square anymore. Did so many of these increases in the middle, and although I was decreasing them quite nicely along, I started to decrease as though I was going to do a leafy end, but decided against that. But yes, it's definitely not square any longer. So just pushing the brioche and just playing with it and seeing where it went. So what I've got now is the workings of a bit of a brioche type tree. So finishing that one off, ready for knit school this month. My finished object. Ends not sewn in, of course, because I don't generally do that very quickly. I will sew them in before I get the pattern photo. But I have finished the sweater. This is in my Verdant DK. It is a lamb's wool base, or a shearling base. So it's the first shear of the Aberfields and the Cheviot lambs that my neighbour has. It's really nice smooth yarn to knit. It's got a lovely stitch definition, and this is my simple sweater pattern. Simple raglan top down, no sew sweater pattern that I have done, and I have sized this from age 1 up to a 4XL. So it's a really great one for showing off those variegated yarns though. Look at that. Really pleased with how that's come out. But a finished object from me. I do like the way it swirls about and the different swirls on the sleeves. Anyway, one finished object. That is another pattern that is going to be going out in the group for testing in the next few weeks. So keep your eyes peeled there if you fancy knitting one of those up. It's a nice quick knit if you've got any kiddies in for Christmas. Right. Okay. Oh, one thing I forgot to say. You've probably noticed I've got a little new addition in the cabin. So the log burner got installed a couple of weeks ago. I've had one small fire in there so far, just to test it out. But definitely going to be really useful now coming up to winter, keeping me warm in here. It's getting quite chilly in here in the mornings. And because it's getting chilly here in the mornings, it means at the moment all the sinks are cold water feed only. So when I was plunging the wool into soak prior to dyeing it, beginning of this week, end of last week, literally my hands utterly froze. It was such cold water first thing in the morning that I've been and bought myself a treat. I bought myself a little electric hot water tap. So we're going to see how we get on with this. Apparently it's just a plug and play job. So you plug it in and then you install we've got extra feeds where the taps are normal sink taps. So they have got a hot water feed. It'll still be a cold water feed going in, but then this tap on the side of the sink will heat my water for me. So I am rather pleased with that one. Okay. Which ones should we do first? Let's do the autumn colourways first, as you can just see some peaks of them in the corner of the screen. So the autumn colourways, so the October colourways, sorry. The October colourways, so the theme, I'm trying to look at a theme each month. So the theme for September was harvest. The theme for October now is embers. Got the fire in, embers we've gone with. So, first one up, I have got this lovely one. Now these I have dyed up in both the Verdant sock weight and the Verdant DK. So there are DK versions of all of these. I've only bought out the sock weight ones to show you on camera. But this is Glowstone on the Verdant sock base. And I love the Verdant sock base. It is so, so soft. So again, it's the lamb's wool. It's the first shear of the Aberfields and the Cheviots. And Glowstone is a delightful mix of oranges and deep, deep, deep dark reds. So there are only 4 skeins of each of these available. In fact, there's only 3 of the DK because my youngest son has pinched one for a hat for his winter hat. So that's Glowstone. Let me put them back in the bag there, otherwise I'll get lost with what I'm doing. The next one here then, again, we've got DK version and a sock weight version. This is the sock weight version, so it's the Verdant sock. The DK's on the Verdant DK base. So it's all on the lamb's wool. And this is, that rain is getting really quite hard out there now. Really quite hard. And the wind. The storm's just blowing through before the weekend. So yeah, with a tin roof in here, it gets quite loud with the rain, which I quite like. So anyway, this is Ashfall. So you've got the light lavenders, the greys, some of the white there where it's really, really burnt hot. And I'm rather liking that one. Rather liking that one. So that is Ashfall. The next one is Cinder Kiss. And it's another grey, another dove grey. And then instead of the lavender, you've got this fiery orange into almost this pink. And then you do get some very little flashes there of magenta in there as well. So that is Cinder Kiss. Again, in both the DK and the sock weight. I need to lean back a bit. I'm getting too close to the camera there. So, getting out of practice. But Cinder's Kiss. And finally, the 4th colourway this month is Smoulder. So Smoulder has flecks of red, really deep, deep black parts. Some of it's really deep, deep, deep brown. And then you get these absolute flashes of bright, bright orange. I am loving this colourway, particularly the deep, deep brown bits, as they're really quite tasty. So this is Smoulder. There we go, Smoulder. Okay, so they are the 4 new colourways for October. I am taking some of them with me to Narberth tomorrow, although you'll be seeing this later than the Narberth show, and I will be doing a market in the group next week, probably Friday next week, which will be the 10th of October, where they will be available before then hitting the website. So if you want to make sure that you grab one of those, you need to make sure you're in the group and get the notifications for the market. Okay, beginning of September then was the time when Stephen West released his pattern requirements for his next MCAL. So this year it's the Magical Musical. And I was sorting out some of the bits and pieces, and I actually found the first Stephen pattern that I knitted many, many, many moons ago. I don't know how many people would recognise this one now. So this one is the Spectra shawl. And it's a really nice, simple one. Short rows, and then it just curls around you. Round and round and round. Like a little skirt for your neck. I love it. So this is the Spectra. And it's a really good way of sort of creating almost like these stained glass window effects with some of the really glorious hand-dyed, hand-painted yarns out there against a nice solid colour. So I found my Stephen West Spectra. Reason it's in my bag is I took it along to knitting school to show some of my newbie knitters that I'm teaching how to knit at the Welsh Wool Shop. Yeah, I have been dyeing up. So the first part of this month was me dyeing up an awful lot of the Verdant sock base. I knit it up last year for the last year's MCAL, and I love knitting the Verdant base. I really, really love knitting the Verdant base. So I've dyed up some colourways, lots of different ones actually. I dyed, gosh, how many did I dye up? There was a plum, blackberry, hawthorn, beeches, bare earth, forest, and hazel, autumn hazel. So I think it was 7 colourways. And then I kitted them up. And I've got a few of the kits here to show you. They're probably, well, this is probably not even half the ones I'm going to show you. But this was kit number 3. So this, oh, Winter Sky, that was the other colourway. So I've got beeches here at the top, which is that orange. Autumn hazel here in the middle, which is the yellow. Winter Sky, which is this nice, bright, vibrant turquoise. And then hawthorn, this orangey red at the bottom. So that's some of the colourways I dyed up. This pack will then show you the Bare Earth colourway, which is a really sort of almost grey, dusty dark brown, and then at points in it you get, I should have probably taken these out of the bags, you get these little flecks of the warmer browns in there, just as these autumn leaves are hitting the ground. I'm going to reach this way, because I've noticed I didn't get any plum ones out. This one is plum in the middle here, and then this one is forest. So these kits will be going live on the website. I'm taking some to Narberth this weekend, and then I have got time next week to get some of them online. So there's the plum, so it's sort of a reddy purple, and then this blackberry purple. So some of the things that Stephen's put onto his instructions is that you have 3 colours that are almost like the backing singers, and then you've got 1 lead singer, your colour pop. I've gone with that for my kit that I've put together for the shawl that I'm going to knit, and I have taken these colours. So I have decided for colour A we're having forest, colour B is the Bare Earth, colour C, which is going to be the colour pop, is beeches for me. And then colour D will be the blackberry. So I'm going to see how they work out, but that is my colours for the shawl. I started it last night. As I said, today is the 3rd of October. So I started it last night, made, I was absolutely shattered. But I made a bit of a boo-boo, so I had to frog it back, and then I decided I was that tired, it probably wasn't a good idea for me to carry on and start to re-knit it. So I'm going to have another crack at it tonight, hopefully when I've got a bit more energy. Yesterday was, well, it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster of a week. So I have finally completely finished my teaching job now, where I've been covering as their RI for the term so far. So that's completely and utterly finished now. But yesterday, I had a little bit of a surprise from the husband. He said we were taking a little trip down to Port Talbot. So about an hour and 10, hour and a quarter away from us. So we drove down there about lunchtime yesterday. And he's bought me a VW camper van. So I am now the proud owner of a VW transporter, which is going to be absolutely revolutionary, I think, for my yarn shows. It's not coming with me to Narberth this weekend. I want to make sure I've got all the documentation sorted, all those T's crossed and I's dotted, and I didn't want to rush and stress myself out doing it. So that's going to wait till after the weekend. So I'm using the Qashqai this weekend as well, because the Qashqai's got a bit of a smaller turning circle, and the car park around the back of the Plas Hyfryd at Narberth can be a little tight. So I thought best to get used to driving the vehicle first and reversing a bigger vehicle, and before I go navigating teeny tiny car parks. So so I've now got a camper van, which means I might be able to look at and apply for some more shows next year that are a little bit further afield. So that's rather exciting. And and the kids are just really excited about going camping. One of them's already planning a bed across the front seats, which makes life a bit easier. It means I don't have to squish two of them with me into the rock and roll bed in the back. Especially as they're growing at an alarming rate. They're not quite happy enough to sleep out in their own tent just yet. So that will be something I will be working on. We'll take a little 3-man tent with us if we all go away, and we can start popping them out in their own tent to share. And it means that I'll be able to do camping at yarn festivals. So two of my great loves is camping. Camping. I do love camping, and obviously yarn shows. Absolutely adore them. So this month, then I've got Narberth, as I said, tomorrow. I am starting up. So knitting school is continuing at the Welsh Wool Shop. That started last month. So we've got a back to basics. So this month they're going to be working on increasing and decreasing. And if that's something you're interested in learning, that will be on in the Welsh Wool Shop this month. Braving Brioche is back in the Welsh Wool Shop, but it is module 2, which is going to be moving the brioche around. But I probably will say yes to people if they want to come on for module 1 as well. Module 1, I will be doing a session here at the cabin. And also later on this month, I am going to be starting the Midnight Makers Club. So anyone that can't make the daytime lessons, either on a Saturday or the Friday or the Saturday ones, I'm going to start an evening class here in the cabin. It's going to be 7 till 9, and I think I put it down for the 3rd Tuesday every month. And come along and learn a little bit of crafting. I may open it up. At the moment, I'm looking at maybe just keeping it at knitters, but I might open it up, and we might have, like, say, a different little theme. So it'll be a little monthly workshop to come along to. So the Midnight Makers Club. Keep your eyes peeled for some marketing bits and pieces in the group and around Instagram and Facebook for that one. Other than that, I am going to be knitting as monogamously as I can on the MCAL this month. The only exception to that will be me taking my sock project around with me. So I have a sock project that normally goes swimming with the kids, the rainy day socks, which I am on the 2nd sock, travelling down quite happily to the turning of the heel. That comes with me now to the yarn shows, and that will be, because it's something I can knit on easily. I don't want to get distracted with the Stephen West pattern. And it's something I take when I take the boys swimming as well. So that'll be the only other thing I think I work on other than knitting school practice and squares and things. So fairly monogamous knitting there. I'm having a look around to see if there's anything I've forgotten to tell you about this month. I think that's about it. Oh, no, wait, I had another finished object. So last month, I think I showed you the Hazel's shawl, the purple one that was in construction and had been for some time. I have finished that off. It has been gifted. I will insert a picture of it here. And I'm going to sign off and say thank you very much for watching this far. I will try and add a little run round of the Narberth show this weekend into this video, because I'll probably get to edit it now Sunday, which means you guys will see it Monday. So I'll try and add in a run round of the Narberth show this weekend. so you can see where I've been, what I've been up to, and what the West Wales Wool Show looks like if you're unable to get there. So have a wonderful month, and I shall see you at the beginning of November. Bye.